fucking hate when it does that. Sorry, I'm back. I need to make sure I'm pushed back for this next part so you can see what I'm talking about. And that is, there's this guy. His name is Tim Bosch. He's been around for a minute. Came from Strike Force, I believe. He's pretty good. He's fighting a guy who, that would have been comma, a guy. How do I put this? Should be fighting for a title, but everybody ducking. And that is the guy who I know will win against Tim Bosch, and that is Jacare. Sorry, I had to do the hand thing. I put my money on Jacare. And then the legend returns against Derek Brunson. Anderson the Spider Silva against Derek Brunson. I don't know about that fight. And then, of course, the main event, which is of 208, Holly Holm against Jermaine Durandame. Holly is a great striker, but Durandame is never lost in Muay Thai. And if it turns into what I think it's going to turn into, I think Jermaine could knock Holly out. At the same time, I could also see Holly beating up Jermaine. So, we'll have to see how that goes. If I had to put money on it, you can't bet against Greg Jackson. So I would go ahead and go with my friend, well, not my friend, I call him that, my fellow impaired person, and that would be I'd go with Mike Winklejohn and Holly Holm. And that's it for this podcast. A whopping 2 minutes. I hate when it does that. It's at the very fucking end, too. Hopefully soon I will be at the Bob, for those who live in Grand Rapids, and I will be doing some of my material, my stand-up, for that. If I could drive, I'd go on the road, but I can't. So, I'll wait for that. I'll let you guys know when I do that. This episode is brought to you as a huge thank you to Joe Rogan, the JRE, the Joe Rogan Experience Podcast. Without Joe, I would never have thought about doing this podcast. You can listen to Joe on iTunes. You can listen to Joe's comedy on Spotify. And you can watch his special on Netflix and his podcast on YouTube. I am not sponsored by Joe. Also brought to you as a huge thank you to Zions, the only energy drink I drink. 0 calories, 0 sugar, no crash, no jitters. The great tasting 0 calorie energy drink. Real energy for real people. The unique formula that gives you the hashtag Power2. I am not sponsored by Zions. I do have one sponsor, and that is Fox. They're not given here. They're not given there. They're not given anywhere on this podcast. Can't be more blunt about that than that. You guys have yourselves a wonderful day. See ya.